Hi everyone, Erica here with Fibers and Floss Canada. Welcome back for another episode. Today I have so many fun things for you. I haven't filmed a regular episode in probably a month and a bit, so I'm going to try my best to make it not a long one. I do have cross stitch for you. I do have a few extra crafts that I've been doing, what I'm reading, as well as some really fun knitting. So I think I'll just dive right in because I've got a lot to cover today. For cross stitch, I do have an FFO, so this is one that I have previously shared as a finished, but not a fully finished. This is Lammegein Pot, or Lammegein Pot, I'm not sure, by Modern Folk Embroidery, and this is my fully finished project. So what I ended up doing here, as you've noted, I've actually done an open, it's called mice teeth, not a open hem stitch. I don't know if you can kind of see some of the detail there for finishing work. It was a really fun one to finish, and you know, when you're doing this sort of finishing, it's actually quite enjoyable, which is surprising. You know, I wasn't sure how I'd feel about it, but I really enjoyed processing that. And for stitching, it's stitched on 40 count vintage country mocha using the I bought it as a kit, and I have the option with the kit to do either DMC or the Soed Idee, and that's what I ended up choosing. Yeah, Soed Idee, and really enjoyed it. The technique, if you're interested in this, so I did end up buying this book called Connected by the Red Thread, and I had a copy gifted to me as well from a lovely lady in the Netherlands. So what I ended up doing is giving my copy away. I've kept the copy that was gifted to me. In this book, there's a whole bunch of different techniques of how to finish samplers. I was hoping on the back it would have pictures of like open hem seams and stuff like that, but unfortunately this one does not. But I went ahead and I did, it's called Mice Teeth, and I went ahead and did that one. It's what's featured on the cover here as well, and really enjoyed it. Highly recommend doing that. I also have the other booklet by Jacob of Modern Folk Embroidery, and his is on an open, is it called open hem, open seam? And I've done that one before as well. Really enjoyed that technique, and it's great because now I can just go ahead and pin this on my wall, and there's no cost of framing, which is nice. So, and it kind of, you know, makes you feel a bit connected to like the historical way of stitching, right? Okay, so that's my fully finished project. Really enjoy it. And if you guys are contemplating this book, I recommend it. You know, there's a really good samplers in there, which of course she has stitched in red, but you could choose whichever color you want. I definitely have a few on my list that I want to stitch out of here for sure. Okay, so there's a train going by and I hope it's not too noisy for you. Now, May. I contemplated what to do in May because it's Mira May, and I do love stitching Mirabilias. They are not my number one, you know, thing that I'm stitching right now, but I do really enjoy diving into one here and there. And so I thought about, you know, diving in and doing one different one every week as I've done in the past. Thought about maybe doing some new starts, kind of went back and forth, and I decided, you know what, I've got one Mirabilia which I absolutely love and I'm a bit stuck on her. And so I thought I'm gonna go ahead and work on the area that's really given me a bit of not a problem, a bit of a hesitation, and go ahead and finish that area and then see how I'm feeling. So if you're interested in Mira May, I'm going to attach a playlist for you guys at the end of the video. And in the past, Samantha, the Huga Stitcher, and I have done a whole like playlist on Mira videos. So how to start a Mirabilia, there's part 1, part 2. I've done videos on how to bead a Mirabilia, how to convert the skin to 1/1. And then of course she has a whole bunch of other videos with Mirabilias on her site as well. So you guys can check that out if you're interested. Now, I'll show you the one I've been working on. So this one is actually out of print. It's called Fairy Idyll by Mirabilia, and I will show you a picture of where I was before because I think I did a fair bit of work on this. And this is actually where I'm at now. So what I was able to do is her wing. Now her wing was giving me the hesitation because what I wanted to do is do a full conversion for it. So the wing itself was originally stitched before they had blending filament and kreinik, and so it was literally just DMC floss. And I wanted to change it up. I wanted it to be a little bit sparkly, and I don't know if you can kind of see some of the sparkles there or not, but what I did is I made some changes to the actual colors of DMC underneath. So some of it I've replaced with kreinik, some of it I've actually kept the DMC, some of it I did a slightly different DMC blend for. And then once all that was done, I overstitched the entire thing with blending filament as well. So there is a little bit of changes. It goes from being a light green and a gray wing to a dark green and a light green wing. The color choices that I used, I'll show you here. I put a vote on Instagram, and I literally had like probably altogether pulled out about 30 spools of blues and greens and grays, looking at what I could use. And this is what I ended up going with. I don't know, can't really, hard to hold it and show it to you guys there. So those are the colors that I ended up stitching over top or stitching on its own. And if you're interested, if you happen to be stitching this pattern and you want the conversion for it, just send me a message and I'll send it out to you guys. I'm not going to go to the trouble of posting it because it's not a common pattern and it is at a print. So if you want that information, send me a message and I'll send it right over. This pattern itself is gorgeous. So this is the middle of the pattern and it goes right to the edge. Like there's not a lot there. This is the edge of the stitching. This one here does come out to about here though, so there will be more than what is on this board. And this girl, she is sitting on like a big 4-poster bed, and there's big chandeliers that come down here, and it will be really beautiful. And her dress just gets huge throughout here. So yeah, I think now you can kind of see there's a void here. This is a stone rabbit. So that will be interesting to stitch, but I'm interested to go, or eager to go up the bedpost and start that. So I'll put this away for now, and next time I pull it out, I'll decide which direction I want to go in. I am stitching this on a 32 count Mirage by Picture This Plus, using, other than the wing, all the called for flosses. And I've even opted for the number 8 kreinik through here, because at the time they didn't have number 4, but I did want to stick with the original. So it will be a lot of fun, this one for sure. I'm really, really enjoying it. Okay, let's move on. So then I had another whip. Now this was my 2 threads a day for the month of April, and it's my Chatelain. So I'm doing Holland Springtime Mandala. I'll put a picture of where I was before. You know, 2 threads a day, you guys, really adds up. It's crazy to see at the end of the month how much you were able to do. And there, of course, there's days where you just really get into it and that's all you stitch on that day, and you're way more than 2 threads. So it's definitely, you know, if you're contemplating trying out 2 threads a day, I would recommend it for sure. Okay, this is where I'm at now. So for the month of April, I was able to start and complete this entire block, which is the lighthouse. And then I was able to start this block over here. So that's a lot of stitching. So I have at the top, I have my sailboat block. We've got the lake in the center. And I have started all the beading except the major gemstone right in the middle there. And then the sailboat, or the the lighthouse is what I have just done. And it doesn't have any beads in that one. It's got a little bit of kreinik. Is it kreinik or Soie? I can't remember. Actually, it's neither. Rainbow, I can't remember what the gold is that's on there. It's whatever the called for is for that. And then I went over and started, this is a village scene here with a bit of a marsh at one end. Yeah, that one's really fun. So this whole project I am stitching in the called for silks with the called for beads. It is an expensive project to kit up. So if you're thinking of doing something like this, it's nice to start collecting the threads early or purchase them as you need them. It's a nice way to kind of break it up. It is being stitched on 32 count white lugana by Zweigart. Nothing special. And I really love it. It's such a pleasure to work on. Now this gets huge. So it gets a lot larger than it is already. So already we're probably about 14 inches wide, and we're gonna add more to that for sure. So I went ahead and was able to purchase a roller bar set for my needlework system 4, I think it is, for my stand, which is a bit of an investment. So I really went back and forth on that. And so now I'm at the point where I can actually sew this into the bars. That's my next step. And then, yeah, we'll see. So I'm gonna put that away for now. And when I pull it out next time, I have some sewing to do before I can work on it again. All right, for my next project, I have a new start. I have so many new things that I want to start. So I had finished a ton of stuff in the last few months, and I had this huge stack of things that are kitted, ready to go, that I just want to dive in and start everything. The first thing that I did start this month was the Smith Sampler by Scarlet House. So this is one that Sarah from Sarah's Stitchy Spot has just finished, and Phoebe of Moonshine Stitchery is working on as well. This is a really fun project, and I love the colors. I love the red in there. That grungy green is beautiful. What I ended up doing originally, I did a full conversion for this, and then I was like, I started stitching, and my thought was, let's start in the berry basket because it brings in most of the colors, and then that way I can really see how the conversion's working out and if the colors actually look good together or not. And because, you know, sometimes like when they hang in the floss drop, you're like, yeah, the colors look great. And then when you actually start stitching, you're like, when you're using that one thread, it's not as dense of a color, and sometimes it just doesn't work well. And that's what I found. So now I'm kind of using about half the called for and half of my own colors. So if you're interested in that, I will put the conversion down below. This pattern is readily available, and I've really enjoyed it so far. So this one here is a new start, so I've got nothing to share from previous. This is where I'm at. I'm stitching this on a 40 count Duxbury by Fox and Rabbit. It was just an extra piece of linen I had kicking around. I thought perfect to use that. And I was able to complete the whole a center page. Page number 5 maybe. This is really, really fun. And it's all like the grungy green. I end up using the called for silk, and it's so nice. I just absolutely love it. So the berry bowl, I think the colors look really good. The only color I was like not really sold on was this rustique. And again, I have the pattern. I can't think of who made that one. It's a Belle Soie. I haven't worked on this project for a couple weeks now, so I can't remember. And I'm not sold on, I mean, it looks great here. It looks great in the outline in the berry bowl. Really like it there. But it's also used as like the roof color on the house. And so I think I might use a different color for that. But we'll see. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I do see this belly of these birds here is a little bit washed out, so I'm contemplating maybe I might backstitch it in a bit of like a taupey color or something, but I'm gonna hold off for now, and I'll see as I'm progressing whether or not that's something I want to do. Yeah, that's a fun one. And you know, I've noticed I've been kind of at the point right now with some of the projects I've been working on is trying to get a whole page finish before I put them away. I think that, you know, I've done like 500 stitches is not really enough. I've done 1,000 stitches and it's good, but sometimes I feel like I could work on it a little bit more. And you know, 1,000 stitches is a good chunk, but I really want to make some good progress on my whips. And so lately I've been doing a whole page finish, and that makes a big difference for sure. That pattern there I think is maybe 9 or 12 pages. So even just in starting it, you're almost 10% done, which is nice. Now here's my other new start. So this is when I started with a lady from Stitchers at the Library, Stephanie. Hi, if you're watching. We decided to start a long dog together and decided to do Pandemic. And this is a project that I wish I had started during the pandemic. I think it'd be really cool to have at least started it then, and I kind of regret not doing that. So I figured now's a great time just to get it started. This project, I'm doing something a little bit different. So I am stitching it on a 25 count lugana, 1/1, and I'm using just black 310 DMC for it. And I'll show you where I'm at. I started page number 1. So this is the top left-hand corner, and that's what I've done so far. I've really enjoyed stitching this. So, you know, I had originally ordered Threadworks. It's a really beautiful rainbow skein of yarn, or skein of floss. It's gorgeous, and I saw somebody on Instagram years ago share that, and what they ended up doing was just using it, you know, here and there. So maybe they'll do it on this around the bird, or, you know, in the center heart of each one, that sort of thing. And I think, you know, doing 1/1 on 25, you could really get some good like coverage before the color changes. Usually get about maybe 8 stitches, but on this I think you probably get close to probably 16. And that was kind of my plan, but I've never worked on gridded fabric, and I thought I'm gonna try this. It's just like plain white gridded fabric by Zweigart. But the problem is that in order to get the grids to wash away, you have to soak it in warm water for about an hour, which is fine. But then I was like, what is, like, is Threadworks, is that truly color fast? And so I was looking into it, and they claim to be color fast, but there's a lot of people that are like, well, I still really suggest quick short soak if you're washing it, and you know, don't use hot water. And I was like, oh, I'm just not willing to risk it, because this is a huge project. This ends up being like 380 by 426 stitches or something like that. And so by the time this is done, I will just die if I soak this and my color bleeds. I'd be so upset. So I'm just sticking with the 310, which is nice. It stitches up a lot faster too, because you don't have to think about colors or stopping to change. So I have, you know, initially I went across, I did the outline of page number 1. I'm a little over 75% done, and I've done everything from like just doing like working on one 10 by 10 square, working all the way down in a row, but I am like a cross-country stitcher, and so it kills me because I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's just another, you know, 2 stitches into that block. And so I haven't quite figured out a good method for this yet. I'm just kind of going almost in a combination of rows, but then also with motifs as well. So really enjoying that. I'll put a picture here of Stephanie's. I haven't asked her, but I think she'll think it's okay for me to share that. I'll ask her before I post the video. And so what's really cool is she started in the opposite corner. So I did top left, she's done bottom right, and she's using colors on her. So it's really cool to see, you know, the progress she's making. She had sent her picture, and I thought, what part of the pattern is that? I don't even remember the back corner or the bottom corner looking like that. So it's really fun to stitch this with somebody who's taking it from a different approach. Yeah, so if you guys are stitching Pandemic, note below, tag me in a picture so that I can see what you guys are doing. I love to see your guys' progress for sure. Okay, now for cross stitch. A couple other things that I wanted to share with you guys before I move on to other crafts. I am going to start a new project. So I placed an order from Farm Girl Dry Goods because I really want some Brenda Gervais patterns, and not everybody carries them. So I went ahead and placed an order, got a few things, but this pattern with needle and thread, I will take it out of the package. I should have taken this all out of the package maybe. I want to do a stitch along for this one because I think there's a few people stitching it already, but I really, really want to do this. This is a beautiful project. It's larger too, actually, larger than I thought. It's 213 by 197, so kind of a medium / large piece. And yeah, I just need to decide when I'm starting it. I don't have a couple of threads, so they've been ordered and they are on their way. But I would love to dive in and start this. So if you guys are interested in a stitch along for it, leave a little comment below so I know. And if you're interested, go ahead and kit it up, because maybe what I'll do is maybe the 15th of June, mid-June or something like that. I'll take a look at the calendar, but if you guys are interested, I'm happy to start that. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So, and I think, yeah, I'm not sure about the fabric. I had some set aside, but the fabric that it's stitched on is actually quite mottled. Can you guys see that? And I'm dying to try some of Phoebe's Moonshine Stitchery fabric, and she's got some really good mottled fabric she just did a restock for, so I might need to place an order. Then I got this really cool one, Brenda Gervais. This, like, I think it's really neat. It's just finished into a box. So I'm always looking for something that's a little bit different. This one here is To Quote Shakespeare. There's also a Christmas one that's kind of similar in style. I thought it would be really fun for some like Christmas ornaments. I should have ordered it too, and I regret not doing that. Oh well, next time I'll order it. Then I have some Plum Streets. So I got Sew Sisters. A lot of these ones that I got with Plum Street are sold out on 1, 2, 3 stitch, so it was nice to be able to grab them all. Sweetheart Hill. This one here I will do for Valentine's, I think. It's really cute. The colors are beautiful. Then I've been wanting to stitch a sheep for some reason. And this one here is called the Wool and Flax Company. And that one was sold out as well on 1, 2, 3 stitch, and I think it looks really cute. You have those rolling hills, you got the sheep. It looks so good. Oh yeah, the clouds are stitched too. I couldn't tell if that was fabric or... Sometimes it's hard to see with the glare of these packages. I got Tomato Hill because I've been watching Megan, Seattle Stitcher, and she stitched this, and I was like, I need that for sure. So I'm gonna start that one pretty quick. And I don't have a lot of small ones, so that's kind of why I was excited to order some of these Plum Streets, because a lot of my projects are larger, and sometimes it's nice just to have something that, you know, it's not going to take a year to stitch it, or some case longer, right, if I got a lot of whips on the go. So it's definitely nice for sure to have some smaller options. And then I got this one because of Megan as well. I keep seeing it on her shelf and I'm like, oh, I love it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this one, the Fanciful Sampler, and it's by Little Robin Designs. That's super cute. I took these two a knit night last night, and some of the girls really like this one here too. There is a cross-stitch meetup, Stitchers at the Library, on the 20th of June at 10:30 to 1:30. I'll put the details in the box below if you guys are interested. If you're around, definitely come. Or if you're like visiting in the Lower Mainland, come. There's like 15 of us that are going now, and it's so much fun to see what everyone's working on. And those 3 hours just fly by. It's crazy. Okay, I'm going to take a little break, move things around, and I'll be right back with some other crafting. Before I move on from cross stitch, there was a couple other things I wanted to share. Someone I've been watching recently, and I don't recommend a lot of who I'm watching. Usually it's got to be someone that it really speaks to me in some way or another. And I've been watching Curious Crafters. They are so good, and I don't know why I have not watched their videos before. They are amazing. I'm going back and watching all of their videos, and I think just at the point, so there are two sisters, and they have like a shared stash, and they're doing cross stitch, but they also do knitting or whatever, you know, crafting that they're working on. And I think they're really neat because they're at a point in their life where, you know, they're getting ready to retire. They're kind of in that transition of going from, you know, crafting, making as a hobby, to transitioning to, you know, how are they framing that in their brain, right? is this a craft room, a hobby room? Is this just something I enjoy doing? Or, you know, can they refer to them as being like a fiber artist working in a studio? You know, does that frame your work a little bit differently, where it really focuses on, you know, your passion and the energy you're putting into that, the knowledge that you're gaining? So it's just a lot of thought-provoking conversation that's happening on their channel. And a part of that is one of the books they were reading is called With Her Own Hands by Nicole Negrig. I might be saying that wrong. And so I've gone ahead and started this book, and it is fascinating, you guys. So it talks about like the history of fiber and, you know, just the history of women, right? Just our evolution from, you know, 1400 and before, and how textiles has really played into that. Just how we've managed in society. And I'm not very far into the book. I'm listening to this on Audible right now so that I can read while I'm about halfway through the book, so that I can listen while I'm knitting. And then I like the book as well because sometimes I'll go sit outside and just read it. So highly recommend this book and recommend The Curious Crafters. They are very, very fun to watch and some really great projects. The other thing that I've been reading too, and I'd like to recommend it because it was also really good, is The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. So this book is just a collection of stories from this lady where she's 70 years old and she writes all this correspondence, and she refuses to, you know, text or phone or that sort of thing. Everything's through written letters. And so this book is just a collection of letters back and forth between her and everybody, from authors to, you know, judges to neighbors to friends to family, whatever. And I really enjoyed the book more than I thought I would. And about, you know, I got into it about a quarter way into the book. Then by halfway, there was actually a couple scenes where I was laughing out loud reading this. And it's fascinating how well you can write a story just by writing a collection of letters. So definitely recommend it. It was really good. The other book I've read too is a recommendation. I think it was Phoebe, a Phoebe Moon, All the Colors of the Dark. I think that was from Phoebe. There's been a few people I've watched and noted down titles, and that one I've only listened to, so I don't have the book to share. But it's by Whitaker somebody. I'll put it in the description box. And it was great. It was about this young boy who saved a, you know, popular high school girl from being abducted. And he gets taken himself. And this all happens in the first couple chapters. And it follows them for, you know, their stories for the next 30 years. And that book had me guessing right to the very end. It was fantastic. Recommend that one too. Okay, so moving on from that. Oh, Owl Forest Embroidery, you guys. There is a new stitch along, and finally it's one of their like storybook fairy tale stitch alongs. So in the past, I have done their Treasure Island, Wizard of Oz, Alice in Wonderland, and now they're releasing Sherlock Holmes, and I cannot wait. So I've already ordered my kit and the floss. I'm just waiting for it to come. And of course, when we order from Owl Forest, you never know, you know, it could be a 2-week or it could be a 2-month. So I'm anxiously awaiting. And once that comes, I will be diving into that because I think that would be really, really cool. This year, if you guys are doing it, they are offering a printed fabric also. And so I've gone ahead and ordered it. I think it will be really neat to have that. So I can't wait to share that when it comes. Okay. One of my girlfriends and I got together and we thought that we would try some Sashiko. So I'll put a picture here if you guys don't know what Sashiko is. It's a Japanese craft where women typically are weaving on, it can be linen or it could even be on your jeans. It can be used for mending. It can be used for design, texture. And we thought we would just try it out. I was at a store downtown Vancouver and I was able to pick up some various like Sashiko threads. I regret not getting a red. I should have done a red, but I didn't. Maybe I'll get one in the future. Or I guess you could always, you don't have to use Sashiko thread. You could use maybe DMC. It'd be a little bit thick, but anyways. So we grabbed that. We grabbed some tulip Sashiko needles, which are a little bit different, a little bit longer. And I just have a piece of white linen thread, not cross stitch thread, or cross stitch linen, and I went ahead and made this. So this is really fun to do actually. I did learn that maybe this linen, even though the store I bought at recommended it for Sashiko, I think the weave is too dense for it. You can tell it kind of puckers a little bit there. And we did have it in a hoop, but it didn't glide through the easiest. And I would like to do it on some blue fabric, you know. Typically you are seeing this on like denim or indigo fabrics. And it was a lot of fun. I'll put a picture of Angela's as well in here for you guys to see. It was just an evening that we had spent on a ladies' night. I host a ladies' night every Thursday, and we just hung out and thought we'll try a different craft today. And really enjoyed it. I think that I'd like to do some more, probably on a piece of indigo dyed fabric though, and definitely with some red. You know, that whole Japanese, like the blue, red, and white, I think would be a really, really cool thing. So it was fun, enjoyable, and of course there's that slow stitch creativity component as well. One of my plans this weekend, actually my husband's away, is to start this right there, the slow stitch kit that I had got from Spain. So I'm going to dive into that and I'll share that with you guys on the next video. Okay, other videos to talk about too. I did a video on my favorite cross stitch tools, which was really fun to make and just, you know, share what works really well for me. And I hope that, you know, you guys have enjoyed that. There's been some really good feedback on that video. And then I'm going to transition over to knitting. Apparently I'm out of storage. That just kills me. Doesn't it kill you guys? Anyways, knitting. So I made a knitting video. I found it was a lot more fun to make, I think, because I use more accessories in knitting than I do with cross stitch. So if you guys haven't seen that, I'm going to link it up above for you guys to check out after. Now for knitting, I have a little video I'm going to insert here for you guys because I have this crazy start and finish in about 2.5 weeks, and that is literally all I did for crafting for that term. And then after that, I've got a whip and 2 new starts to share with you guys. Okay, I'm sneaking in here real quick because my house is full of people. It's my mom's 70th birthday today, and I have not had a chance to share what I've been working on every single day for the last 2.5 weeks. You know, there's nothing worse than that idea of, I wonder if I can make that in time for, you know, a gift, and it's a bad idea. I'm not going to have the time, but I'm going to try it anyways. And that's totally typical for me, right? So for my mom's birthday, you know, what do you get somebody who's turning 70? She has what she wants. She has what she needs. And so, you know, I was really at a loss. And I've noticed the last few times she's come to visit, she is, you know, boring little scarves or shawls to take the chill off her neck, right? And so I was at the Woolly Bulldog. They have an amazing shawl at the front door called Malibu by Isabel Kramer. I'll put a picture for you. And the sample in the shop is knitted up. I think Jasmine knitted it. And she's used Kinross, which I've got the label here for you because I'm kind of doing this by the seat of my pants today real quick. So it looks like this. Kinross, it's the 4-ply. This wool is amazing. So once you block it or wash it that first time, it gets super soft. This is from Scotland. It is superfine lamb's wool, 100%. It is not superwash. It is grown, milled, and spun in Scotland. It's lovely. So the 4 colorways, I will put them in the description box because I don't have the time and I don't have them all in front of me. They're all like Scottish names. It's very fun to knit with them. So what I ended up doing was making this shawl for my mom in 2.5 weeks, and like the nerve pain was crazy because I did not stop. Now, if you guys remember on my last episode, I started a very center corner and I wasn't sure about the colors. So what I ended up doing was changing the colors for more contrast, and this is the shawl here. So it's pretty big. You can see we've got the dark green, I think it's called Scots Pine. and then there's a couple stripes. You have that pattern again at the bottom, and then that's the end of the shawl. And I decided as I was knitting this, it reminds me of a thistle. So you've got like the dark colors, and then you've got the purple, and just this pattern made me think of a thistle here. Now I decided against my better judgment that I would be a little extra crazy and map out, you know, a giant thistle, and I would stitch this. And so my thought was to add a border of large thistles at the bottom, which I've done here. So there's 10 thistles, and then I added a little bit more of this pattern at the bottom here, just to create more of, I don't know, I guess like, you know, bushes or whatever, right? And then there is the ribbing at the bottom here. So all in all, it's a pretty big, I don't know how far back I can go. It's pretty big. I definitely spent a good amount of time working on this. Every day I worked on it. So even days where I'm working 12 hours, I put in a few hours. If I worked a 16-hour shift, I didn't touch it. But on a day off, I had a couple like 8-hour days. Now, let me tell you that it's so soft that when I got to this part here, I had decided, okay, great, I've mapped it out. I can knit with 2 colors. When I do color work, stranded color work, I put 1 color in each hand. I can do 2 in one hand, but I find that eventually they're gonna run together and then I just get frustrated. So I do continental with 1, and then I throw in my other. And so I go all the way across the row, which was great. And I turned it and I was like, wait, I have never done flat stranded color work before. I've only done it in the round. And I had to think about it. I was like, I don't knit continental. I always throw my stitches from my right hand because when I've tried to do continental, I can knit that way, but I have a real hell of a time purling. And so now I find myself needing to purl with 2 colors going all the way back at like 400 plus stitches a row. And so for me, that was a huge learning experience. You know, I just couldn't hold the tension right. And it really made me realize that I need to choose a project and make that project just in continental knitting. And I do find that I get a little nerve pain if I'm like knitting a ton. So I want to have options to switch to the other hand, but I need to really work on my tension with my left hand for continental. So all this to say that I really, really enjoyed making this. This light blue color is beautiful, and I had to keep buying skeins of yarn, and this is all I have left. It's like this very teeny tiny little ball. And so my cast off I finished just in time. It was amazing. So I'm gifting her this along with a little scarf ring that I picked up at the Woolly Bulldog as well. Now, if you guys are interested in this colorway or this yarn, Angel is shipping. So Woolly Bulldog has a ton of their colors. I don't know the extent of their palette, how much they have, but she's got a ton of it, and it is a sport weight. Really, really love it. This whole thing was knit with a size 4 needle, or 3.75 for the border here. I did not size up when I did the thistles. I kept the same. I was worried a little bit because of this. So what I ended up doing was I pre-blocked because I wanted to pull this nice and big, and then I was worried about doing the flat stranded color work and my tension. So what I ended up doing was a pre-block, then I knit this, and everything at the end of the day worked out well. Like the back, I carried my floats no more than 5, and it's worked out great. Just in the blocking, I think there's like 2 points with the thread where it was like, it could have been a little tighter, but you know, it's nothing to worry. You're not going to catch anything on it. It looks so beautiful from the back. If you're thinking you might want to do this, if you don't have the thistles, it's actually a really easy pattern. So even though this looks impressive, you actually are only knitting with 1 strand at a time because you are doing a lot of slip stitches here, and you're slipping a lot on the purl side. So it's actually quite a fast knit. And then again, it's just 1 strand at a time. So the pattern itself is quite enjoyable to knit. I highly recommend it. Don't know if I recommend recommend flat color work though. Definitely a skill I need to work on. Anyways, I'm going to go. I'm going to wrap this up for my mom. I'm going to gift it to her this afternoon, and I hope she really, really loves it. It is so soft. It has, I don't know if you guys can even see, like there's a really gentle halo there, and just like not enough to make it itchy or anything, but just enough that it's like super soft and fine. So highly recommend the wool, Kinross from Scotland. You guys should try it. I absolutely love it. I will knit more with it for sure. There's not a lot on here. 224 yards in a 50-gram skein. Yeah, love it. Okay, back to the regular program. For my whip, I have Frostline's Cardi by Andrea Mowry. This is one, it's so close to being finished. I'm not enjoying the sleeves with 3 colors. I don't know what it is. It's just constantly moving the yarn around is making it unenjoyable for me. I didn't mind the body. I had no problem with it, but I got to the sleeves and I was like, I'm already not a fan of sleeves, but whatever, I can get it done. And now I'm just like, I'm dying. And so I thought, that's okay. I'm just going to bang this out and get it done before I start anything new. And so my plan was just to, put on some TV shows in the background, and I'm just going to knit for a couple days. And the sleeves aren't big. Like I could get them done in a couple days. It's not a problem. And so I completed the first sleeve. Okay, this is where I'm at. And then I've got a story for it. So this is Frostline's Cardi by Andrea Mowry. It is being knit the full length, and it's on size 4 or the US 3.5 needles. I'm using DK. This is actually, I'm not using DK. It calls for DK, but I'm using the John Arbin milled yarn, and this is in... The main colorway is the beautiful one, which is kind of like a pinky, it's milled, right? So it's kind of like gray pinky color, but if you look close, you can see all the colors. There's like blue and yellow and purple, and there's everything in there. And then the stripe I'm using, it's called Waltz. It's also John Arbin. You can see the colors there, it's just gorgeous. And then the other stripe I'm using is Mano de Uruguay in the colorway Del Wally. And so, okay, so I dive on in and I'm knitting, and the first sleeve is done. Great. Okay, whatever, moving on. I've done the cuff. Excellent. I had to buy more purple yarn because my daughter wanted thicker cuffs, so that's done. And then I started with the second sleeve, and I'm motoring along. I'm getting all the way down here, and I'm like, why does this sleeve look so much bigger than the other sleeve? And it's because I completely forgot to decrease for it. And so that irritated me, and I thought, maybe I should just put it away. I was so miffed that I had forgot somehow, and I'll show you the difference. So it's like a whole extra inch wide, and then times that by 2, right? So it was definitely a baggier sleeve. And then I thought, okay, had my daughter come, she tried it on, and she likes the baggier sleeve. So I'm going to finish knitting the baggy sleeve. Then I'm going to frog the completed skinny sleeve, and I'm going to re-knit this with no decreases. And then it's going to be done. But all that said and done, right now, it's in a timeout because I can't handle it. So it's my goal to get it done, but I need a breather for maybe another week from it. And then I'll be able to dive back in and work on it. And then while this was happening, perhaps this is why I've lost that motivation just to get it done, is because I thought to myself, I'm going to stitch or knit the new Olga jacket. And I spent more time than I have ever spent looking at yarn combinations for this jacket. I went to my girlfriend's store. I was looking at all these different yarns she had. We were looking at different options online. We were looking at different colorways. I bought a skein of yarn. I came home and thought, okay, it's weird because the pattern, the gauge, it doesn't make sense. I mean, you look at the gauge, it's stockinette stitch, and it's supposed to be, I can't remember now, I think it was 16 stitches by 32 stitches will be using a light, was it a light DK now? I can't remember. A light DK was going to be 4 inches. And I was like, that doesn't even make sense. And so in stockinette, yes, if you do, you know, whatever the length is, you double it and you're going to get a perfect square. So the 16 by 32 makes sense. And so I swatched it up in the weight that she had called for in her fabric or in her pattern. And I was like, the square was like 3 inches. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll just go up a couple needle sizes and try again. And I was like, it was like 3.25. And I thought, what? So then I had the John Arbin, which is a light worsted. Some people argue it's actually like a DK, and I thought I'll just try it with a different yarn and swatch that. And so I did that yarn on a size 5, and it was like 3.75. And this is after like washed and blocked and everything. And now this is stupid. I ended up doing, I think, 5 swatches, and even with all of that, I'm now into using a worsted weight, and I'm using like a 5.5 needle, and this cannot be right. The needle that's called for is like a 3.25 or 3.5. And so I reached out to the designer. I reached out to about 5 of the test knitters, and the designer says, yeah, with that particular called for yarn, it blooms a lot and it works perfectly. The thing is, I'm not buying the called for yarn. You know, I want something that's a little bit different, and so that's okay. So then I talked to 5 test knitters, and 4 of the 5 said, oh yeah, they all laughed and said, it's a worsted weight 5.5 to get gauge on this. And I didn't want such a heavy cardigan. I don't want it to be thick and heavy and worsted. So that at that point, it was a ton of wasted time, and I thought, I'm not doing the Olga jacket anymore. I'm having an issue with my frost lines. I just need something fun that's going to kind of, you know, scratch that itch. And so I found this other pattern online, and it's called Under the Stars. It's a blanket by And Other Knits. Now, I'll put a picture here of the blanket. It's gorgeous. And this would be great if you have like an advent that you need to use up, would be ideal. For myself, I've got a ton of yarn on my wall over here that I just need to dive in and use. And so that's what I'm doing with this project. So it calls for a size 4.0 or US 6 needle. It calls for fingerling weight held double. And it's basically a bunch of quilt blocks that you put together. You sash it all together and sew it up. And so I have started that, excuse me, in my knitting bag right now. I have like, I don't know if you can see, this is my palette I'm working out of. Can you kind of see it? Oh, I don't want to throw it on the floor. So a lot of like blues, greens, pinks, some grays. And so I'm going to use those colors to make the stars. There's 2 different star panels that you're making, and then you use one color for all the sashing. And I think I'll buy a yarn that's going to pull it all together for the sashing, but I won't do that until I'm done. Now, I'll show you the one I've made. This has been a lot of fun. It does create a ton of ends. It is a wrap and turn like every single row. So you're definitely going to get good at wrap and turns, and it takes longer than you think. So this is my first block. It's called the Ohio Star. And this block here, I used some Noro, which was actually, this one was a DK weight. So, or maybe it was a worsted, I can't remember. So I just held that single. And then this is, it's all just stash. I can't even remember what this one was. I can't remember, it doesn't matter. I held this fingerling double. So that's my first block is done. And you start in the middle, you do this, and you just pick up and you work and you fan out as you're going. And then you end up with the center square, and then you will do this triangle and this triangle. And you kind of do that all the way along. And then what you end up doing is you pick these stitches up, pick up those stitches, and then you just work your way up here. And then you do all your sides. and then you pick up along here, and then you decrease up the middle. So you create this like mitered square. And it's gonna be gorgeous. I'm so excited for it. But these ends, like, these are just the ends I can't sew in yet. I've already sewed in all the middle ends and, you know, the center, and then the ones that go here and the ones that go along this side. These are just ends that are coming off the edges. So lots of ends. So it's a good project for like, make your squares and throw a tapestry needle and a couple squares in a bag and take that with you to, you know, a knitting night or something. Here's one that my next one I'm working on. It is so fun. And like, look at the ends. Like, it's a disaster, right? But a lot of fun. I'm really, really enjoying it. And it's great that I'm going to use up some of the stuff I have in my stash, which is wonderful. So yeah. And I'm just, this one here, I'm almost done just doing the mitered, the corners here. And then I'll be finished. Really, really enjoying that project. And, you know, when I was disappointed not being able to do the Olga jacket, it really was about like knitting a quilt block. And so this is exactly the same thing. Okay, and then best for last, you guys. Oh my God, if you've made it this far, I cannot wait to share this. My girlfriend sent me a picture and said, oh my gosh, look what I made. And I was like, stop it. You guys, you know the little like frog and toad that people are making? She has made one and she sent me the pattern, and I'm starting it. I started it last night at this knit night group, and like, look at this little frog so far. Can you see him? Oh my goodness. He is so cute. And again, all stash except for, I actually didn't have any dark green mohair, so I had to buy a ball of that. But this is such a fun pattern. I can't even. And so I'm gonna make frog and I'm gonna make toad. So this one is called Frog, and it's by Claire Garland of Dot Pebbles. And she does a lot of the Instagram videos of frog and toad in their little houses. So it calls for a size 3.5 or 4.0 needle. And then the whole thing is stitched with fingerling yarn. And well, I actually think the pattern is fingerling to DK with mohair. And so mine is fingerling, and yeah, it works great on that size needle. I mean, I guess you could do a little bit thicker, and then the back, like, it wouldn't be so, if you can see there. It's not a loose stitch, but I guess it'd be a denser stitch. And then I think when you look at her Instagram videos, I think she's actually gone ahead and felted it a little bit because it looks more felted for sure. So yeah, we'll see. I need to get some wire for the arms and the legs. I think it'll be really fun. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And I did this in like 2.5, 3 hours maybe. So yeah, and it wasn't too finicky. I have a girlfriend that I think she did a snowman or something one year, and she was like, never will I ever again. That was the most painful thing she had ever stitched. But so far this is good. And I say that realizing that I've got these like teeny tiny little arms and legs to make, which I'm sure has got to be like I-cord arms and legs, because I think it's got to be like 6 inches around, if that, max. So I should bite my tongue. I might have something to say about this next time I see you. Anyways, really, really fun. Really love it. The next knitting night at the Woolly Bulldog in Fort Langley is, I think it's the 10th of June. If you guys are interested in joining those, join for sure. You can go onto her website. You can sign up to reserve a spot for yourself. And if you're there, come say hi. I'd love to meet you guys. If you're one of the viewers and you've popped in, come say hi. I'd love to see what you're working on and get to know you guys. Okay, I feel like I'm missing a ton of stuff. But I think that's gotta be it, right? I don't know. If I'm missing something, you're gonna get it on the next video. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope you guys are enjoying the sunshine, the nice weather, the gardens, all the things outside. And I'll talk to you soon. Happy stitching and knitting. Bye for now.